In today's Leeds news, Mullen joins Cali, Under-21's Heavy Defeat, Nat Phillips linked again, Charlie Taylor could re-sign if available, Brooks' latest, transfer updates and Creswell's current situation. Morning folks, Jay here on Friday the 26th of January with your Leeds United news. Hope you're all having a really good week. Two really quick updates just to let everyone know. The Loan Watch segment that people have been asking about is back next week. Took a bit of a break from it over the mid-season break in a lot of countries, so there's been a kind of a disjointedness on games, been hard enough to track, and also with the transfer stuff that's been going on over this month, there's a lot of stuff there, so we'll get back to that next week and going forward as normal. Some new players to add to that as well that have gone out on loan. We'll get to that in a sec. Also, if you're interested in it, I'm on the Not Another Leeds podcast tonight at 8 o'clock over on their channel. I'll put a link in the community tab if you're interested in that. Probably one of the most fun Leeds United podcast. It's never serious. Do enjoy it, so you can catch us out over there if you want to later on tonight. Now let's crack on again to the news. We'll start off with Jeremiah Mullen, and he has left Leeds United to go on loan to Inverness Caledonian Thistle until the end of the season. Cali are sitting in 8th place in the Scottish Championship, and Mullen, who is a Scottish Under-21 international, a regular Scottish Under-21 international, will join up with the team for the remainder of this season. Mullen had some very good performances for Leeds United, first team in pre-season, and really did look like a standout player. When we spoke to Michael Scubala on the channel about the player earlier this year, he talked about the player being an excellent pro and doing things the right way and really maturing as a player. We've seen him captain the Leeds United team this year as well, during 21s, and they really missed him last night, and we'll get to that in a sec. But we wish Jeremiah Mullen all the best for the remainder of the season. We'll add him to the loan watch and we'll keep an eye on how that goes for him. But a good player, good potential there, and good to get out on loan and get some proper, really competitive minutes in front of a decent crowd as well. It's up there. So best of luck to Jeremiah Mullen. And moving on, talking about the Under-21s, they suffered a humbling 7-0 defeat to PSV Eindhoven last night and are out of the Premier League International Trophy. It's a disappointing one. Leeds were top of the group with PSV Eindhoven, who were just slightly ahead of Leeds with 1 goal difference. Unfortunately, last night a very weakened Leeds United Under-21 side took a heavy defeat at the LNER Stadium. No Lewis Bate out on loan, no Darko JB out on loan, no Jeremiah Mullen out on loan, no sign of Sean McGurk in the squad. I haven't heard if there's an injury there. There could be. Couldn't find out if there was one, but he wasn't in the squad at all. And Mateo Joseph obviously now involved with the first team, so a massively weakened side, and took a really heavy defeat last night. So hopefully they can dust themselves off, get their confidence going again. It has been a tricky start to life as Leeds United Under-21 manager for Scott Gardner. More defeats than wins, and the momentum of Michael Scubala seems to have hit a roadblock at the moment, which can happen. It does happen with new managers, new styles and new ways of doing things. You can have a little bit of an adjustment period, so results probably not what Leeds should be looking at right now. More performances, and hopefully they can sort things out there for Scott and the lads moving forward. Moving forward for us, let's talk about a player who's been re-linked with Leeds United, and Liverpool centre-back Nat Phillips has been linked again with a potential loan move to Leeds United in this window. The Daily Mail are claiming that Leeds, Cardiff and Blackburn are all very keen on the 26-year-old, who was on loan already this year at Celtic in Scotland, but only managed to play 3 appearances in the league. 5 appearances, I think, in total, 3 in the league, and was recalled by Liverpool due to lack of minutes. He's now available to go again. Leeds did show an interest in the player in the summer, but ended up going for Joe Rodon instead. The interest will be dependent on Charlie Creswell's situation. We'll get to that and explain that in a minute. But basically, Leeds will want cover if Creswell leaves, and Nat Phillips could be that cover, and we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But it should be said, Nat Phillips hasn't played a lot of games. If Liverpool recalled him because he wasn't playing a huge amount of games, we know the situation with Daniel Farke's squad, and it's likely if he came into the Leeds team, he wouldn't go straight into the side and might struggle to get minutes again. That's going to be a sticking point on a couple of things, and we'll get to that at the very end. And moving on, talking about an old player who's been linked yet again, and Charlie Taylor, who was linked heavily with Leeds during the summer window, is now being linked again. According to Graham Bailey, he says that Leeds could make a move for Charlie Taylor if Burnley will permit him to move and make him available. He is currently playing for the Burnley side and has been a regular in the team this year, but his contract is up at the end of the season with no sign of a new deal being signed just yet, and it could be possible that the 30-year-old looks for a move or is moved on by Burnley to get some form of a transfer fee in before he leaves on a potential free. Bailey said that Leeds are very interested in the player despite the fact that he is playing on a consistent basis with Burnley and could be a tricky one to get done. But Bailey also says that Leeds are not desperate, from what he's heard, to bring in a left back in this window unless they can get one on their own terms, which could be a little bit tricky. Leeds do need a left back because, as well as Junior Firpo's playing right now, there has been injuries there as well. Sam Byram injuries. Leeds need cover. They really do need cover. That could be a problem as well, getting cover. Moving on, talking about another potential player that could be coming in, and David Brooks has been linked consistently throughout this window. The same names keep popping up. We're getting a little bit more detail on these moves as we get closer to the window closing. Speaking with TalkSport, Alex Crook said that he believes that Brooks will leave or could leave before the end of the window next week. Brooks spoke after the Bournemouth's 5-0 win over Swansea last night, and he basically said that his preference is to stay at Bournemouth and play, but playing is what he wants to do, and if he can't get the minutes at Bournemouth, then he will look to move away from the club to get some minutes he wants to play on a regular basis. Antonio Iraola has also spoken on the situation as well, and he's pretty much said that it's a two-parter situation. One, the player has to want to go, and what the player's wishes are is the first thing, and the second one is if they can get adequate cover in time to cover David Brooks leaving for their squad, because he is a squad player for them, very much on the bench at the moment, but is a squad player for them. They will need to get cover. That's the one that could go right down till the end of the window if Leeds can maintain an interest in the player until then. Really quick, I wanted to rattle through a couple of transfer updates, players that have been linked, and now we're getting some more detail on it. We'll go through this really quickly. Some of these are according to Graham Bailey, some are David Ornstein, and some are from the Daily Mail. We'll get into this, and we'll start off with Ben Johnson. According to Graham Bailey, this one is now off the table. He has said that all the talk that he has heard within West Ham is that the player is staying at West Ham in this window and will not be moving out on loan or permanent. Calvin Ramsey being linked very, very heavily with Leeds. Leeds were supposedly had looked at the player, made an offer, or had talks with Liverpool, but that's all rumour until it's fact. And according to Bailey, he thinks that it's a very unlikely move for Leeds United. Basically what he has said is he doesn't believe the player is good enough to play for Leeds or to get in ahead of what's there at the moment. He believes that Archie Gray is probably a step ahead of him at right back, and even Jamie Shackleton might be as well. So bringing Calvin Ramsey in might not be a move that has any benefit to Leeds unless it's cover and purely cover. But then Liverpool seem to want these players to go out and get minutes. That's not going to happen if that happens, if it is that case. Connor Roberts is one that Graham Bailey said is a very realistic option and is one that Leeds are keen to pursue, and keep an eye on that one. That one again could go down to the wire on the window as well if Leeds decide to make a move there. Ben Godfrey is the big one that's been popping around. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. David Ornstein has now had a chat about this, and David Ornstein has said it is unlikely because the clubs are miles off in terms of a fee. He basically said that talks are ongoing between the two clubs, and what Everton want is a loan with an obligation to buy, and apparently the fee that Leeds have suggested is miles away from what Everton's valuation of the player is. So that again looks like it's probably off. However, Ornstein does say the clubs are still in talks about that one, and again it will depend on what happens there. The player could push for the move as well, but there is interest from other clubs in Ben Godfrey as well. Finally, one on this one then, Manuel Benson has been linked again, on off. Is it real, isn't it real? All that's going on, but now according to Give Me Sport, they are saying that Ipswich, Birmingham and Southampton are all said to be very interested in Manuel Benson as well as Leeds, and reports of advanced talks with Leeds might be a little bit ahead of reality just now. It could still happen, it could be a possibility. They are probably looking at Benson as a number 10 as opposed to a wide player. Leeds are very well stocked in wide areas, and that might not be something that Leeds need right now, more so than defensive cover, and maybe a 10. Although Jorginho Rutter playing in 10 has made a serious difference for me, and I think that kind of makes things a little bit easier for Leeds. And then moving on finally to the last story of the day is around Charlie Creswell, and we should talk about this because it does have a knock-on effect to the rest of the plans in this window. According to Leeds Live, they are saying that Leeds will not sell Charlie Creswell for peanuts, and Daniel Farke will not allow the player to go out unless he can get insurances over a replacement for cover in that position. The issue is, and will be this: Ben Godfrey wants minutes, Leeds won't guarantee minutes. Nat Phillips wants minutes, Liverpool want minutes, Leeds can't guarantee minutes. Charlie Taylor wants minutes when he comes in. If he comes in, he's not guaranteed minutes either. There's an awful lot there. If you go through all the fullbacks, outside of maybe a right full, the rest of them will probably be come in, sit on the bench for a bit, wait for an opportunity. The issue here is, it's not a criticism, it's just pointing out a fact. Daniel Farke's lack of rotation and lack of usage of subs till a very late time in the games will be looked at by players as well, and thinking if they're going to come in, Leeds won't guarantee them minutes. Farke will not guarantee anybody minutes who hasn't worked up to the level that he wants them at or can go into that team. They will have to be patient. We've seen that with Creswell this year. He's not patient, wants to play, and Farke's not happy about that. But that could bite Leeds on the arse, because it could be a situation where these players might be interested in coming to Leeds to play, but they can't be guaranteed minutes, and that might scupper an awful lot of the deals. The other piece of this as well is Leeds said that they saw value in the loan market in this window, and so far it appears that Leeds have been struggling to get that value, or struggling to get the players in that they think will be valuable to the club and will help the club in their push for promotion as well. It's a tricky one. It's been a struggle of a window. It really has. It's been very, very quiet. The same name's been popping up on and off. Other clubs getting involved. Now we've seen some players at Leeds have been linked with moving to other clubs as well. So it's going to be a tight window. As I said yesterday, I really hope Leeds don't get drawn into the run that we're on at the moment and thinking we don't need to add. There are injuries starting to pop up. It's a long season. The back end of this season is when these injuries will start to catch up on people. So Leeds need to be ready for that as well. They need to have players ready and squad players. And maybe Daniel Farke might need to change his philosophy on rotation of the squad, or at least usage of players on the bench at an earlier time to give them minutes, which might negate some of the issues that these players might have coming into Leeds United. And that's going to be it for me today, folks. Massive thanks as always. I will see you tonight if you're on the stream. I'll probably do something over the weekend as well. But back on Monday for more Leeds United news. Have a cracking weekend. Talk to you then.